Hi, everyone, and welcome to our brief video on innovations in telephone town halls for the 2024 election season. I'm Sean Thompson, the president of Teletown Hall, and we're also joined by Kurt Cerveny, the president of Telephone Town Hall Meeting. We're going to be talking about one of our newest solutions, which is called Mobile Waiting Room, which allows you to effectively double the size of your telephone town hall reach by calling mobile phones at the same time as calling landlines. So for the first time ever, campaigns can compliantly send thousands of telephone town hall invitation calls to mobile phones, and you don't need opt-in consent to do that. How does that work? So landlines still receive that pre-recorded invitation message, but for mobile phones, we're actually placing them in a mobile waiting room where they hear a short welcome message from a live operator before being transferred into the live telephone town hall. So that's the key difference. They're hearing live voice instead of a pre-recorded message. And as I mentioned before, the benefit of using mobile waiting room is that you're able to expand that authentic experience of a telephone town hall to your mobile only voters. Previously, they were only able to join via opt-in or by dialing inbound to the telephone town hall. Okay, so because we're able to call mobile phones during a telephone town hall now, we've also developed another solution called synchronized texting during a telephone town hall to enhance fundraising, voter ID, and GOTV. Synchronized texting allows us to send text messages during or immediately after the telephone town hall when your voters are most engaged. And this supercharges results for a number of different calls to action. Today, we're going to be talking about three in particular. The first is text to donate to enhance your fundraising operations. The second is text to voter ID to collect more complete voter IDs. And the third is text to GOTV to improve voter turnout for in-person elections and the return of mail-in ballots. Kurt, I'd like to turn it over to you to talk more about text to donate.
The data that you compile to go out to one of these calls for donors is you compile only donors, whether they prospect, old donors, new donors, existing donors. A typical congressional race probably has about 10,000 to call, something like that. We're calling small donors, trying to have them graduate up to larger donors if you can, whatever the case may be. It's only a 25-minute call. Just remember, we're only going to be texting to people who have mobile phones. So if you want to give us an entire mobile phone list, do so, because they can get text. If they have landlines, they're not going to get a text, obviously. So how do we also reach everybody else and see if they can donate? During the call itself, we can pose in and put in polling questions, say, hey, would you like some more information? Would you like somebody to call you so you can donate? And we do it as a polling question during the call. If you did give us some landlines, we can cover it that way. And if you don't want to rely on just people giving you money back via texting and a call might be better, we put that in the call itself. Again, it's only 25 minutes long. It doesn't need to be longer than that. The mission is basically to say why you need the money and what you're going to do with it. So I need X amount of money because I'm going to buy TV, or whatever the case may be. But that's what the call is all about. Back to you, Sean.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. And why does text to donate work? Well, the authenticity of a telephone town hall, which is a two-way personal communication with the candidate, is actually priming thousands of donors at once. Because of the patented outbound invitation calls that we use to dial out to voters, we're typically getting 20 to 30% of the people we dial to participate in the event. That's 250 times as many participants as you see in an average inbound conference, whether it be Zoom, Facebook Live, et cetera. And so during the telephone town hall or immediately following it, that's when we're sending these peer-to-peer texts. And we find that this is when they're most engaged, more likely to give and to give more. Okay, so with text to voter ID, we're finding that we're receiving 3 to 4 times as many completed voter IDs than we have been with cold texts or emails alone. The reason for that is voters are most engaged during a telephone town hall. They're staying on. And then when we send that text message after the event, we're referring back to that telephone town hall when they were engaged and most energetic. So we're identifying voters who are supporters, undecideds. We're identifying the issues that make them tick. And then we're using that information that we collect for targeted persuasion and GOTV right before election day. So it's a different purpose than we have for text to donate. This is a different teletown hall. We're actually calling voters as opposed to known donors.
The call on these generally can be longer. We talked about the last call was 25 minutes long. On these calls, when you're talking to voters, you should probably be going as long as an hour. Back to you, Sean.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. And then a third application of synchronized texting during a telephone town hall is text to GOTV. We found that there's a significant improvement in voter turnout and the return of mail-in ballots with this strategy. So during your telephone town hall, you should be urging voters to schedule a time to go out and vote in person or to complete their mail-in ballots and mail them in the following morning. And the text message that you send or that you chase that ask with is just a quick reminder, remember to submit your mail-in ballot or vote tomorrow. The reason why this is more effective than, let's say, cold texting, email, digital ads, and why it stands out from the noise is because telephone town halls are uniquely seen as a personal communication from the candidate. 80% of participants emotionally remembered the telephone town hall as a personal phone call from the candidate, him or herself.
There's three types of telephone town halls we're talking about here. Text to donate, you should be scheduling us right away. You always want to raise money. The second one, text to ID, you should be doing that pretty soon too, because you always want to ID as many voters as possible, especially the independents. In my state, for instance, the dominant party is unaffiliates, and you want to kind of find out where they're going one way or the other and get your word out there. So no later than probably the end of September. Scheduling to get out the vote, probably the first time, it depends on what state you're in, but the first time absentees go out or maybe as even late as early voting and get going on one of those calls. Almost make it a public service call. Is, hey, I'm calling you, I'm running for office, and by the way, you just got your ballot in the mail, or you can early vote now, vote for me.